Welcome to Want to Learn Chemistry, a site to help you become a chemistry expert. Today we will be learning about the arrangement of electrons in atoms. Now let's check your understanding of the subatomic particles. Activity: write the number of protons, neutrons and electrons found in each atom of these elements. I have nitrogen, fluorine, sodium and argon. A quick recap: mass number is the number of protons and neutrons. Atomic number is the number of protons, which is equal to the number of electrons. Now let's go over the answer. Nitrogen has 7 protons, 7 electrons, 7 neutrons. Fluorine has 9 protons, 9 electrons, 10 neutrons. Sodium has 11 protons, 11 electrons, 12 neutrons. Argon has 18 protons, 18 electrons and 22 neutrons. Today you will be learning how the electrons in an atom are arranged and how the electronic configuration relates to chemical properties. At grade D, you need to be able to state the electronic structure of the first 20 elements of the periodic table. At grade C, you need to be able to draw the electronic arrangement of atoms. And grade B, you need to be able to explain the reactivity of group 1 metals. The electrons that surround the nucleus of an atom are arranged in shells, also known as energy levels. Each shell has a maximum number of electrons that can exist in that shell, and we will look at that later on. This is a diagram of an atom which has 3 shells. The first shell contains 2 electrons, and this is the shell near to the nucleus. The second shell and third shell contains 8 electrons. And the fourth and the fifth shell contains up to 18 electrons. Now let's go over some questions. How many electrons does hydrogen have? And the answer is 1. How many electrons does helium have? Pause the video whilst you think about the answer. And the answer is 2, because it has 2 as its atomic number and the second shell is not required. How many electrons does lithium have? And the answer is 3. How many electrons does oxygen have? And the answer is 2 in its inner shell and 6 in its outer shell. How many electrons does neon have? And the answer is 2 in its inner shell and 8 in its outer shell. Third and fourth shell is not required. What element is Na? How many electrons does it have? It has 11 electrons because the atomic number is 11 at the top. And Na stands for sodium. What element is Cl? How many electrons does it have? Cl has 17 electrons and Cl stands for chlorine. How reactive are group 1 metals? Group 1 metals are also known as the alkali metals. You have sodium, lithium and potassium. Rate their reactivity in terms of 1 is the most reactive, 3 is the least reactive. Pause the video whilst you do it. Now let's go over the answer. Sodium. Sodium is the least reactive. Lithium is the second least reactive. And potassium is the most reactive. Now let's watch some videos.
See another reaction of the alkali metals, the reaction with water. We'll start with lithium. The metal floats on the water and reacts with it, giving off hydrogen gas. Now for sodium. The same sort of thing happens, although the reaction is a bit more vigorous. All the alkali metals react with water in the same way. Now for potassium. This time you'll see a flame. The heat given out by the reaction is produced so quickly that the hydrogen gas catches fire. It burns with a lilac flame. The next element is rubidium. This time we put a safety screen between us and the reaction. You can see that things gradually become more terrifying as we go down the group. Let's try cesium, our fifth alkali metal.
This next video does not have any volume, so look at the screen very carefully. All elements in the same group have the same number of electrons in the outer shell. Pause the video and fill in the blanks. Let's go over the answer. So the writing in the pink, all group 1 metals have 1 electron in their outer shell. The writing in orange, these elements have 3 electrons in their outer shell. And finally the green writing, these elements have 8 electrons in their outer shell. As you move down through the periods, an extra electron shell is added. All of the elements in the same group have similar properties. Lithium has 3 electrons in the electronic configuration 2, 1. Complete the other 2 electronic configuration. Pause the video whilst you complete the answers. Sodium has 11 electrons in the configuration 281. Potassium has 19 electrons in the configuration 2881. This is the periodic table. Looking at the atomic diagram, which element is this? Can you guess? And the answer is lithium. What about the second one? The diagram shows sodium. And finally, the last one, which element is this? And this was potassium. From the diagram, you can see that each time a new shell is being added. This is why reactivity increases down the group 1. Now let's check our understanding by doing some questions. Copy and complete the paragraph in your book using the words below: electron, energy, group, nucleus, and shells. Pause this video whilst you do the answer. Now let's go over the answer. The electrons in an atom are arranged around the nucleus in shells, also known as energy levels. The electrons further away from the nucleus have more energy than those close to the nucleus. All elements in the same group of the periodic table have the same number of electrons in their outermost shell. Question 2. Draw the arrangement of electrons in the following atoms and label each one with its electronic structure. A is beryllium, B is boron, C is phosphorus, and D is argon. Now let's go over the answer. A is beryllium. It has an electronic configuration 2.2, so 2 electrons in its inner shell and 2 electrons in its outer shell. Boron has electronic configuration 2.3. It has 2 electrons in its inner shell and 3 electrons in its outer shell. C, phosphorus, it has electronic configuration 2.8.8.1. This means the first 3 shells are complete and the 4th outer shell has 1 electron. And this is the electronic arrangement for argon. Question 3. Use the electron arrangements below to draw an atom, then use the periodic table to work out which element it is. Now let's go over the answer. A has an electronic configuration 2,7 and it is the element fluorine. B has an electronic configuration 2,8,2 and the element is magnesium. C has an electronic configuration 2,8,6 and it's sulfur. D has an electronic configuration 2,4 and the element is carbon. E has an electronic configuration 2,8,4 and the element is silicon. Question 4. Why does the reactivity of group 1 metals increase as you go down the group? This is a very good question and is an exam type question, so make sure you understand the chemistry. Now let's go over the answer. All group 1 metals have 1 electron in the outer shell. In a reaction, this electron is lost and the alkali metal forms a +1 ion. As you go down the group, the number of electron shells increases. Lithium has 2, sodium has 3, and so on forth. The outermost electron gets further from the nucleus. The attraction from the positive nucleus to the negative electron is less. This makes it easier to remove the electron and makes the atom more reactive. Let's do another quiz to help us improve our understanding. Question 1. Use the periodic table to work out what this element is. Pause the video whilst you think about the answer. Now let's go over the answer. This element is boron because it has 3 outer electrons. What element is this? This element is aluminium because it has 3 outer electrons. What element is this? This is argon because it has full outer shell. Thank you for listening. You have been listening to me at Want to Learn Chemistry, a site to help you become a chemistry expert. Like and subscribe for more videos. You can write to me at wanttolearnchemistry@gmail.com with your questions and suggestions. Revision tips number 1. Listen to chemistry videos before going to sleep.